Welcome members to this video. So in this video, I'm just going to explain and implement a very common scenario. So if you have been around full stack and you're trying to implement something, you must have come across this kind of a table whereby you have these buttons of importing and exporting to Excel. Okay, so this is a very major functionality where users can have data from in Excel and they want to import that data into the app and then save it to the database and they have it together with the app they are adding new. This is good when you're trying to migrate users if they have been currently using Excel and you want to bring them into the app. So having the data in Excel, they can quickly bring that data into the app and they start using it. So today's video, I'm just going to show you how you can import all the data from Excel and then save it to database and then bring it to life like this. Okay, so let me show you the demo of what you're just going to do. So assuming you have this where we have upload file, this is of course an Excel file. You can go ahead and choose an Excel file. First of all, let me clear all this data right now that is in database. So this is the demo of what you're going to build. You can clear that, of course. Now you can just go ahead. Let's go ahead and upload an Excel file. Let me first show you the Excel file, how it looks like. So the Excel file looks like this. It has a name, it has age, city. Even when the names are in just like capitalized like this, we are going to see how to handle that. So you have this data, and this can be really much data if you want. Okay, so you have all this data. Now we can just go ahead and upload this data in Excel. Just you saved it into users, open it. Now we have the first functionality of previewing data. So you can preview the data, and clicking on preview, you have a preview of all this data in the UI just like this. Okay, great. So after previewing the data, we can also save this data in the database. Okay, let me refresh. And this time, I'm just going to upload and save to the database. So click, and then let's click on save data. So save, and you can see saving data. Please wait, and this is going to take just for some seconds and to save the data in the database and then rebuild the UI with the new data. Okay, so this has been saved to the database. Now if refresh, we have all this data persisting, and you can confirm this by going to the Prisma the Prisma schema. I can refresh this. This is Prisma Studio, sorry. We can refresh this, and you see that we have all these users added to the database. Okay, so this is what you're going to be covering in this video. And if you're happy and you want to implement this with me, please join me and let's get started. Hey, welcome once again. As you have seen, we are going to implement the import from Excel functionality. So I have a freshly installed Next.js 14. As you know me, I've always done the projects from scratch. And so we have a freshly installed Next.js 14 app. You can just go ahead and just install it. And I'm just going to take you so far what I have in the app. I have here in the layout, there is nothing much. Have this heading Excel to JSON, which is on the screen right now. And that's it. The other things I've installed, let's install a couple of things. So the first thing you're just going to install, of course, is going to be Prisma. So you can just go ahead and say npm install Prisma, and also install at Prisma client, Prisma client. Okay, so just go ahead and run this, I already have this installed. Okay. So after installing Prisma and Prisma client, we just need to install this package is what you're going to use for the purposes of extracting the data from Excel. This package is really a big package. You can just see here it has about 1.5 million downloads. This is a very huge package used in the community. Okay, and you can see it as, you know, the dependencies and the dependence so much crazy, but it's a really nice package, and you can just go ahead, take your time and go through of what it is capable of, and it is really capable of so many things. It can create new Excel files, it can read Excel from files, it can convert JSON to Excel to JSON. Like, it has so many things it can do. It can create download. You can download Google Sheets locally. You can see things that it has done. It has even the extension of, you know, spreadsheet, React data grid. It has a lot of things it can achieve, but in this video, I'm just going to try to use it for the purpose of extracting data from an Excel file and convert it to JSON. And later on, we are going to manipulate the uploaded JSON into adding it to the database, and it will be very, very interesting to achieve that. Okay. So moving on and having what start, as I've said, if you have this package installed, go ahead and also install npm XLSX. I guess that's the name of the package. So this package here, you can just copy this npm XLSX just like this. Just go ahead and install this. Then another thing you need to do is to initialize Prisma. So I already have Prisma initialized. So you can just say npx Prisma init. So you can say Prisma init, and you say dash dash data source provider, and you can just say MongoDB. So MongoDB. So this is the line of command you run to initialize your MongoDB. So if you run this, I have already run this, and you get this Prisma, and then to also create the MV file. Now go ahead and add your database. Go to MongoDB, get the database URL and plug it in here. Okay, so I have mine added there. So the next thing, I'm just going to show you the Excel file. So the Excel file we have is this, and this can be Excel of any kind. This can be categories, this can be products, this can be list of consumers, list of suppliers. It can be any data a client has or anything you're planning for people to upload. Okay, for this purpose, I'm just going to use this. Now, for these ones, you might just need to rename this to name, like small name, but it doesn't matter. If you don't want, you can just do, leave this. I'm just going to name this age, and then city in capital, in small caps. This will be very easy for me to extract when on this, but still, even if you want to leave them in capital letters, let's say a scenario whereby most of the people actually type in this format. Let me just leave it, show you how I would handle that. Actually, I think that's why actually I just intentionally made them just capital like this. Okay, so that means what the first thing I'm just going to use. Let me just first can I just use this Xcard draw to draw for you what I'm thinking. Let me just get this, and let me just draw for you what I'm thinking here. So we have our Excel file. Okay, So we have the Excel. Let me type here. I have Excel file. So the first step we just simply want is we just simply need to get this Excel. Okay, Excel file. We use this package, the XLSX, and this file is going to help us convert. Okay, is going to help us convert this into a JSON. Okay, so if we can just get this data from this format and we put it in the JSON format, now from the JSON format, we can do a number of things. Okay, from this point, we can do a number of things. I'm just going to show you that from here, we can do a number of things. For instance, we could just come and let me just duplicate this maybe. Okay, we could do a number of things. For instance, after getting this JSON, okay, we are going to use to save this. So save the JSON file to the DB, and then of course fetch it back. So fetch the data back to the UI. So this is the exactly what you're just going to do. So you just need what to upload the file. We use this package, convert it to JSON, and then save the JSON file or save the JSON data. Actually, just save the JSON data, not JSON data file. The JSON data, JSON JSON data to the DB, and then we again fetch this data back to the UI so that we show the user all the data that they have uploaded. This is the main thing we are going to do in this video. Okay, of course we can reverse this. You can also get, when he has more data he has added to the database and to the UI, you can fetch this data and then reverse it. You can also just bring and get this data, use this package and convert back to Excel file where they can download it. Okay, the package is capable of also handling that situation. Okay, and with this capability of converting to JSON, it has a lot of possibilities. You can create templates, you can create a lot of things around this. But in this case, let's go and see how we can implement this scenario of where we have the Excel file, use this package, get JSON, and then loop through this data and save it to the DB. So the for the start, what I'm just going to do, after you have these packages installed, okay, make sure you have the packages installed like that. You have initiated your Prisma. Now, let's go ahead and create the first schema. So the only thing we just need is create a schema. You can say have model user. So you can just go ahead and just create this user. And you look at what I'm just adding in the model. I'm adding the name, age, and city. So the data that you have in Excel here, name, age, and city, must be matching with the model you have in Prisma. Okay, you need to have this matching exactly. Now, for the purposes of this to show you, these names actually they don't matter. Whether these ones are in capital letters, the only thing you have to be very sure is which format are they in. Okay, you have to do this, and in most cases what you can do to make it your users not to make mistakes, you can give them a template. Okay, so when they go to import, you can just have a way of giving them a template of how they should name. Your naming should be consistent, because we'll put this in consideration while we are extracting the data. We know that the name is stored under capital name, like capitalized name like this, where N is capital, and age where age A is capital. You have to consider this. Otherwise, you might need again to loop further to again convert these object keys to this, which will not be really necessary. But just be consistent with your naming. This is very important. But in the database, we don't need to save capital N. You don't need to do this. Okay, this would be really weird. Of course, this is very much possible. If you wanted, you can just go ahead and just do this, but I find it not necessary. Okay, I find it not necessary, so just name them in small letters, just like this. Okay, so after you have created your model like this, okay, so one more thing we can just do is creating a global Prisma instance. So under utils, I have under not utils, under libs. Okay, so if you look at under libs, I have this db dot, what is in utils? Okay, this is for if you have installed this. We don't need this, I guess. We're not using are we using I don't know if you're going to install shard for this example. I don't know. So we could just go here, and in this lib here, I have this db.ts, which is defining a global Prisma instance. We have done this a couple of times. You can just go ahead, pause the video, and just get this piece of code here. It is something you have been doing like over and over all the time. Okay, so after having this Prisma instance, so you have all the things you need. I can just, these days I like doing a to do dot md. Okay, so make sure you have Prisma and Prisma client installed. Okay, installed. So just install these ones. Also go ahead and install, okay, the XLSX. Okay, so initiate. Okay, initiate Prisma. You can just go ahead and just initiate Prisma, and then just go ahead and create of course you can create the db and get the db URL string, and add it in the env. Go ahead and create your user model. So far this is what you are just done, and then go ahead and create a global Prisma instance. Okay, so let's go ahead now. This time let's just push the migrations. Okay, let's push the migrations. Okay, they're just like pushing the model to MongoDB. So I'm just going to go ahead and just run this. So just run npx Prisma, and you could just first stop this, and you just run npx Prisma db push. Okay, so you can just run this to push this to Prisma, to MongoDB, sorry. And you just see that this will go ahead and create. So you can see that this has been pushed. The collection user has been pushed to the database, and a new Prisma client has been generated. Okay, great. So I have this now running. I can just run npm run dev, npm run dev. Okay, so that step is done. Now let's try to create the UI. Let's create the somehow a UI that we can work with. So we need a way of uploading. So in the first of all, I'm just going to create a component. So I'm just going to create the component. Just go and create a component. So new folder called components. Hey, I already have components here. There is nothing in it. I'm just going to create, for instance, users table. User. Today, what's happening, guys? I'm not typing. No. Users table dot tsx rfc rfc. I'm just going to put 2 and just say users table. Okay, so users table, I'm just going to go to page and just like bring in the users table. Users table, as simple as this. And if you just go to the UI, we have, come on, just refresh, and we should just have users table here. Meanwhile, it is opening, just go here and open Flowbyte. You're just going to get some of these things from Flowbyte. So you can just look at here, there is users table. Okay, so I can just quickly grab an input plus the buttons. So if you just have to look at the users table, just going to have 2 parts here. The first part, we have the buttons. Okay, and then the second part, we have the table. Okay, so the buttons, like the upload input. So we have in these buttons here, we have in this, we have the upload input, the one is going to use to upload the input. Okay, we have the preview button. Okay, we have the save button, and you can just like finally add the you can add also the clear data if you wanted. Just going to see it as a bonus. So those are the buttons we need. So definitely we just need to put them in a flex. Okay, do items center, and then yeah, we can also just give maybe a gap of 8. Okay, so just add these things here. So I'm just going to go to, you can just simply go to here and let's search for the input file or file input. Find the file input here, and let's take this first one. You can design the way you want. So I'm just going to copy this file input here. So you can just add it here. Change the class. Change wherever you see class here. You can change, say, Control F and then Control H. I'm just going to replace it with class name. Okay, and then for HTML, this 4, just change it to HTML4. HTML4. And then for this input, just add a slash at the end here. Okay, so we have an input file. If you check this on the UI, we have this input like this. Okay, now the fact that we're using a flex, this should be in one div. This input where we're having the error. Okay, this one is going to rectify itself, I guess. So you can just go here and just say dot. So just simply put these together in one div so that they are together, just like so. And let's go and add also some padding. So you can just add a class name to this. Let's add a padding y of 8. Okay. Yeah. It will be just like this. And the dark mode, you might be asking, the dark mode is just like my machine, the default for my machine. this has to do something with my machine. It's not that I'm working in dark mode. Yours might be in light mode, the machine. This is how Next.js works because of this CSS they have here. This here, they have this CSS already works. If you have the dark mode, it will maintain the dark mode. Okay, so I have the upload file. I just need now to create the buttons. Okay, so I'm just going to design one button and in the users table here. So after this input, let me just add some buttons. It is inside this. So we can just add a button. Okay, for instance, we can just say to is the one which is saying preview data, and we can give it some classes, something like padding y of 2, px of 6, rounded, and we can also just say something like for now let's give it bg slate and maybe 300 and text slate 900, and then what it is, we can just first look at that. Okay, so this looks better. We can just duplicate this button and have more buttons out of this. We can have the save data, and then another one you can just say clear data. Okay, so you can just have these two buttons and you can just make some changes. For instance, this one red, 600, and this one just say purple, maybe 600. Okay, if I just go back, we have just like something like this. Okay, so you can have the buttons. I have the 3 buttons here, and yeah, you can just go ahead and if you want, you can change this and text slate maybe 100. I don't know if that one looks much better. And then the save, if you wanted also, you could just say text slate maybe 100. I don't know if that one makes it better. Okay, so now we have something like this, the buttons. Now we can put the table down here. So we can also just go here and search for the table. Okay, so table that is going to show the data. I'm just getting it from byte. You can of course go ahead and use from shard. But for simplicity, I'm just going to get the one from here. Just simply copy this and bring the table down here. So after here, I'm just going to have a table. I can put this in padding. Let's first paste it here. The first thing is to convert the classes to class names. We already have it here. So convert that. And I think that's the only thing we have to do. Okay, so go ahead and also convert. I put this. We need this one. You need this one to be name, to be age, and then city. Now this one can be any information. Can be for the product. Can be for anything. Then the data here, we actually need one row. So I'm just going to reduce to one row, and then others, I'm just going to simply delete them. We don't need so many ones. Okay, just do something like this. Okay, and here I'm just going to have one removed. Okay, and for the purpose of testing, I can put my name here. So you say my name, and I can just say age, just put 30, and the city Kampala, something like this. Okay, if I just go back, we have this. Of course, obviously, let's go and put some space. And it is very easy. I can just go to this. To what? Okay, you can just go to this and give it space y, space y of 6. or 8. This will just add some space. Okay, great. So we have here this. I just add this one to be 8. Okay, so we have this space here. We have the name, age, and city. So the purpose is now to upload an Excel file here, and then we save the data. Data goes to the database, and then it comes back. It shows in this table. Okay. So the first thing we're just going to do is we can make the Excel accept only Excel files by just changing this the input, and the input we can simply give it the accept. So already, if you just go and check the input, if you go and check the input here, where is the input, guys? If I just go and check the input here, input. So right now, if you check the input, it has type file, which is great actually. The only thing we just need to change is we can give it two things. We can give it accept. Okay, so the accept is like which type of files do you accept? And this helps a person when he's selecting like Excel. It is very easy to accept this. So we just want accept files like dot XL S. The normally these days the older versions used to save Excel files with .xls. Now today's files we use .xlsx. This is the new extension for Excel. If you go and check in this Excel file here, it must be saved in that format. You can just go and just confirm. You can see it is users.xlsx. That's why we have to consider this also, and then also this. Okay, so here are the two files. This one can help us to easily see that. Okay, so one thing we can also just do easily is that we can start saving in state. For instance, we can save in state the file. Okay, they uploaded the file, and also we can also save for the JSON. Now for the preview purposes, you see we have this preview button. We just needed to preview the JSON here in the browser, in this space. The preview is going to be just previewing an array in space, so it's going to use a pre. That means we're going to have the JSON stringified here for the purposes of previewing. This is for the purpose of previewing. Okay, so we can have the two states, okay, for saving or for keeping that. So the first one is going to be the file and the set file. So you just have to use this one. So you can just say const file set file is equal to use state. Okay, now this one is going to be of type I think file. There is JavaScript file or null. Okay, so by default let's set it to null. Okay, this type of file is actually just known by just JavaScript. It is just like a providing about the files and allow JavaScript in web page to access their content. So this one, this one has no problem. Then we can also have the JSON. So you can just say const JSON data. So this one you can just say JSON data set JSON data. JSON data is equal to use state, and this one is going to be a string. Okay, so this one, let's say, is going to be stringified for purposes of previewing in the browser. And since we're using use state, clearly we need to make this one a use client. Okay, so I have these a two states. This one is going to be storing this. So when, for instance, we upload the Excel right now, if I just go on the UI, upload this, just like this, you can see users.xls. So this one now is able to upload here. So now to capture this, we have to write the on change. Okay, so on change, we can actually access the files. Okay, so we can just quickly just write on the input, we can put the on change. So if I just go on the input, I always find hard to find where the input is located. The input is right here, and on this we can just say on change. So on change, we can have ability of accessing the you have seen we have always used a on change to access the target, and from this target we can get the either the files or the values. If it was an input type text, we would get the text, the value. But this is input type file. That means on the target we can actually access the file. So you can just say e dot, and this one we can access e.target dot. Now here we can just get files. Now this there's a possibility of a person not we could just say when we access this, of course we want to set this to file, set file, okay, to this, okay, and this is of course supposed to be 0, or you could just go ahead and this. Now, if you do this, they say either target is possibly null, because someone can fail to select he can just click and he only change but doesn't select the file. So there's a possibility of this being not there. That's why we said that the file has a possibility of actually being null. So therefore, we have to consider that here. How do we do that? By first checking, we could first check. Okay, we could just first check if e dot target. Okay, we could just say if e dot target dot files exist. Okay, if this exists, then we can do this. Else, then we set this to null. Yeah, this would take away our problem. So you could do something like this. Okay, now we could just go ahead and just console.log the file. So CLG of the file, just like that, just file. Okay, so if right now go in the console, you just go and just clear this, clear everything in the console. And now just go ahead and just on change. Let me just go ahead and do on change. Okay, I think we need to do something to click the preview button, but so far there is nothing I'm getting. We just need to, let me refresh. I'm getting undefined, so here is supposed to be null. Okay, so now we have, after refreshing, we have the data. You can see here, and more in the data is you have these things. You have the name, you have the size, and you have the type. Okay, and of course you have the path, relative path, last modified. You have all these details about this file, which we can use right now. Okay, so you can see the file is an object and has all these things here. Okay, great. So let's move on. So after we have this, obviously we need just to create now a function. Okay, we can just create here a function. Okay, so I'm just going to create a function convert. We'll just say, maybe we just say preview data. So yes, this one is going to be used for previewing data. Okay, so in this case, the first thing we need to access is, in this case, we can first access the file. Okay, because how am I writing the function? So the first thing here is check if we have the file. So if file, because there is a possibility of the file being null. So considering this, we can just say if file, that means like if the file exists, now we can initialize a new reader. So we can just say const reader. So reader is new file reader. So this is a JavaScript reader for files, and this does not necessarily mean for Excel. This can be for images. If you want to read an image and you want to interpret the image, you can use this JavaScript reader. This is a web API. You can see this web application is as in read the contents of files or raw data buffers stored on the user's computer, e.g. using file or blob. So this one has nothing to do, like you don't need to install this. This is from the JavaScript API. The good thing is this reader, okay, can have these functions. It has events. You can have the onload event. When you load a file, it can listen. So we can take advantage of this. We say onload event, and then this is going to give us a function just like this. Okay, so this, it can have this event. From this event, we can abstract different things. For instance, it has the result. So you can just say const data. Of course, what you want to read from this is actually data. So just say data is a dot target dot result. Yeah, e.target.result, something like this. So this reader can help us, has this onload function. When a file is loaded, it can actually go ahead and extract the result. And it is this data that we're just going to use, okay, to read the workbook. Okay, so from this now, we can just say if data exists, we can just now go ahead and do a number of things. The first one is getting the workbook. So you can say const workbook. Okay, so we have Excel workbook. Now we can start using our XLS. So we can just say import. So on top here, you can say import star, I guess, from import star as I think XLSX from XLSX. I think just something like this. You can just confirm from the package. I guess that's how they import things. Let me see anywhere if they have imported it like that. Yeah, you can see import star as XLSX from. I know, don't just use this. It's just like if you have installed it here, you can just say import star from XLSX. Just as simple as that. Now we can use this XLSX to read the workbook. So here on the workbook, we can read, okay, we can do of course const workbook, okay. We can just say const workbook is XLSX dot. So this one has a lot of functions. This, okay, so the one we want to use right now is the read. Now it can read from this data we have passed. So here this takes in two parameters. the first one, it takes in the data, and the second one, it takes in the type. So just type here, which is going to be binary. Okay, so here, there's a lot of ways you can read the data. There is base64, buffer, file, string. Want to read it as binary. Okay, and then next, so after getting this one will get us the workbook. Okay, like we can read all the data in the workbook. Now in the workbook, we want to extract two things: the sheet name and the worksheet. So just going to write here, we need the sheet name we are reading, and then we want the worksheet. Okay, we want the worksheet, and then finally we can just get our JSON converted. Okay, so let's start with the sheet name. So after getting this workbook, we can just go ahead and get the sheet name, and we can just say const sheet name is equal to workbook. So we use the workbook. Now dot, okay, sheet. So you can see on the workbook, you can have the sheet names, and we take the first one. As simple as that, we have the sheet name, and we can now get the worksheet. So const worksheet. We can just get the worksheet is equal to, now this one is going to be using, sorry, this one is going to be using also the workbook dot, now this time we want the sheets, and then we just read the one we just have here. So this one, the sheet here, so we want, this can be so many, okay, and this can be what they mean. You can find you have so many. You can see here this has only one. Okay, you can have like so many tabs in here, but we just simply want the first one. Okay, so after extracting the first one, because there can be so many worksheets here, worksheet 1, these 2, 3, blah blah, up to wherever 20. So you extract, and that's why here we first extract, get the whole entire workbook. The workbook can have so many, okay, can have so many sheets, but we first get the sheet name we want to extract, and it's just by getting workbook.sheet names, and we get only the first one. Is in an array, so we just get to go ahead and get the first one. After getting its name, we now come get a worksheet using this name by going to workbook, sheets, and we just simply want this one. So that means here we now have exact the data for this particular worksheet. So now we can just go ahead and convert it to JSON. So we can say const JSON is equal to XLSX. It has this utilities function. So you can say utilities, and from this utilities, it has this function sheet. And by the way, look at this. From these utilities, you have a lot of things you can do. It has this is an array of array, sheet, book, append sheet, book new. Like this one, if you want to create a new Excel sheet, you can use book new. It has so many. So the one we want to use is I think sheet to JSON. So you can see on the sheet you have so many: sheet to CSV, sheet to diff, ETH, formula, HTML, JSON. So we want to use this one, sheet to JSON. This one, okay. So this one takes in the worksheet, okay, because the worksheet is not just having the data. This one, and from here we can now set JSON data. Okay, set the JSON data. Now we can stringify this because the JSON data is a string. Okay, the JSON data was a string, so we can just say JSON dot stringify Okay, JSON.stringify, and I'm just going to say stringify JSON. Now, for purposes of reading it very well, you can give spacing of 2. Okay, this is just adding spacing, guys, nothing much. You could just say stringify JSON, as simple as that. But just for purposes of showing it very well, I want to do this. Then down here, you can just go and add the preview. Now, one thing you can just add down here on this if statement is one thing you can just add is after this we can just, after the reader, this here, we can also just say reader dot. So there is this, where is it? It is reader dot read read as array buffer. Okay, so this one I found it in the documentation. For sure, I don't know what this is about. Okay, but after testing, I needed this, so you can just go and add it. Read as binary string. Read as binary. And this one just shows like it was removed. I don't know. And by the way, if we don't add it, can it still work? Let's just first test that. So this is the code we only need. We get the workbook. From the workbook, get the sheet, get the worksheet, and then get the JSON. This is the only work we need. And then set this one. Now down here, we can just go and preview this. So after here, these buttons, after these flex, I could just add a pre here, just like this, and then just put JSON data. So just put JSON data, just like this. Okay, so let's just go and, and preview. Okay, let's call this function. Let's call this function on one of the buttons. So the one for previewing the data. So preview data, I'm just going to say on click, just preview data. Okay, you just go ahead and just look at this, clear everything, and let's have more room here and choose the file. Okay, and then let's preview the data. So what has happened? So you can see there's nothing that has happened even when we have this. Let's go and add this read as binary. Okay, just add this read as binary string, reader dot, and then you pass in the file actually. So just add this and just refresh one more time. And this time, let's just go and have this, click preview, and guys, we have the data. So you can see we have the array here having all this data. Okay, so this is good. I love it. And you can just see that they turn it into an array, and each record becomes an object. This is really nice. Okay, so if you just see how it extracts, it gets, for instance, a name. So for the first record, name, age, and city. So this one becomes the first record, this one. Then this is the second record, like that. And you can see this data is here. So now having this data here means a lot to us. Okay, that means that we can just have now this data and save it to the database. Now, since we have this preview data now working, the first thing we can just do is adding one user to the database like this one, and then we fetch them on the UI. I'm just going to, you could just go ahead and create a form and add that. That's something which easy. We have been doing this all the time. You can add here, create new. the way you see in this, you can add this a plus new user, and then you create a form. I'm just going to give that one as an assignment to you. Add a button here which says new user, and when you click it, takes you to the place where you can add a new user by adding a name, age, and city. That is typically really easy. I guess you can do that. Okay, I'm not going to do that. What I'm just going to do right now for purposes of getting what I want easily, I'm just going to say npx Prisma Studio. Okay, and let me just open the Prisma Studio. Right now, we don't have any user. I'm just going to click on add record. Okay, so in this add record, let me just add this. I'm just going to say JB web developer, age, let's say 30, city is Kampala. Okay, to those who don't know, Kampala is in Uganda. So just save. Okay, let's just see. Okay, so we have one record. I don't know for the reason like the city doesn't save. Mm, okay. Okay, so we have the one user here. Okay, you could just add this by here in this Prisma Studio. You could just create a form and add that user. Okay, now let's fetch this user onto the UI. And this is why we need the server actions. So I'm just going to create a folder here for the server actions. So just create actions, and then inside these actions, let's just go ahead and create users.ts, and the first thing on top here is use server, and then down here we can just go ahead and now do a lot of things. Export async function, get users. Okay, just like this, and this is going to be a try catch block, and then we can just say const users is equal to await get await what await Prisma. So can we import Prisma? Do we have Prisma somewhere in the lib? Here we have this Prisma. Okay, we can just go and say await Prisma. We should just have this one imported. Dot user user dot find many, and just like this. And why is this? Is it just using just the global Prisma just like that? I'm not going to accept that. I just need this to be imported manually. Since when did it start just like doing that? If I just say import Prisma just free, import Prisma from at lib, then db, yeah, just like that. So we have this Prisma, and then we could just say return users, just like this. And then if there's any error, just say consider to log the error. As simple as this. Not going to do a lot of error handling, but we could just like do this, and we could just say get this, go to the page page here. Let's get the users. Let me just go here and say const users this is equal to await get users, just like this. And of course, we could just say if they are not there, just create it as an empty. And oh, this one I just already made it async. Okay. And then just simply pass in the users here. So in the users table, let's pass in the users equal users. Users is equal to users, something like this. Okay. Just go to the users table. Let's accept this. So we accept users, something like this. Now they are of type user from the user, this Prisma client, and is an array, of course. Now we could just go ahead now map. We can just go here and map into this table. So for the table, I can just first consider and say that if we have users and users dot length is greater than 0, we could just go and say then you can show the table. I think we can map instead. Yeah, you can just show the table, and then within this table we can just go ahead and map. So I'm just going to go ahead and map through this table row here. So you just say users dot map, and then we have a user, and then we can just go ahead and just say something like this, return this. And let's go to the key. So here tr key is going to be user dot id. Okay, and then we just have this name. So this one is going to be user dot name. Then this is going to be user dot age, and finally this is going to be user dot city. Okay, great. So this should just now give us a single user. As simple as this, we have JBOB developer 30 compiler. This is the user we have here in the Prisma Studio here. Now we can just go ahead and now start. So we have the preview data working. Let's work on saving data. So we could just first work on saving a single user. I'm just going to come here, duplicate this function, and just create this one as create user. Okay, and of course the user takes in data. Of course, now data is of which type? Let's create a type here. Type user props. This is important. The data we are taking in is of which props. So if you just look at this object, okay, if you want, of course, we have to complete this. Just remove this. You can put just any for now, or you could just say is I wanted to show you where I'm getting these props, and first put any so that we don't get errors. So if you just go to preview data, okay, and upload preview data. So you see this, it has this here. If I copy this and I bring here, these are the keys. We have the name. Okay, so we have the name, which is a string. So this is the data that is coming, and then we have the age, which is, of course, this is a number. And then we finally have a city. We have a city, which is a string. Okay, just like this. Simple. Okay. So we have this. Now I'm just going to say here is going to be user props, as simple like this. So the data, we expect it to be this. Now I want to use this somewhere else, and we can export this so that we can just use it somewhere. So export create user. So if you want to create a new user, you want to use this. Of course, it will be const user. Now you could first check if the user exists, blah blah. Right now I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to say const user is go wait Prisma user dot create. And of course, in here, we take in the data. Okay. Now we normally just do data just like this, and you can see quickly that this is refusing. Okay. Because in the data, create data, this was a certain user. If you look at the data we have, the props we have, they don't look like this. The user in the database has the small name key. These keys, these ones are small. Okay, these ones are small letters in the database. That means here we just say data, and then we specify, for instance, the name that is going to be data dot name. Okay, that's why I was telling you that this is important to know the columns, this here. And then here we have age, which is data dot age. And then we have finally the city, which is data dot city. Okay, so now we are great. So do this and you can return a user. If there is any errors, we can console them out. So we basically have this create user function. Okay, and now this one you are going to use it. You first of all, if you create here a button for creating a user, in this case where you have like this button, new order or new user, you are going to call this function. Okay, this function to create a single user. But then what we want is actually creating many users. Okay, so I'm just going to duplicate this and just say create. Okay, or if we say create bulk users at the same time. Okay, so what I just want to do, I think for this, there are so many ways you can do it. Okay, and in this, there are so many ways you can do it. And the one I'm just going to do it is when I have an array and I just simply loop through an array. For instance, I can just say this will take in data. Also, okay, this bulk users is going to take in data. Just is going to take in data, but this now is going to be an array. So just put in data is going to be an array of this because this is the array we are putting in, this one. So it's going to take in this array. And the first thing we can just do to it is we can do a for loop. So you can just say a for of, okay, I just need to do a for of, there is this one, this is the odd for loop. I just need to do for, okay, and in this for, I can just say, for instance, user of data. Now this one, I could just name this users, makes sense. So if we just say user of users, just like this, and then inside here, you would actually be accessing like a user. Okay, that's how they do a for of. How do they do for of? Guys, for of. Did you mean user? Find user. It's supposed to be const. Yeah, I guess. It's supposed to be const, I guess, like for, and it's a const user of users. Let me just simply confirm. I could just like we could just like go ahead and just confirm the for of loop. Yeah, it just have to be like this, const or user of users. This is same as doing the other for loop. This one is just simply getting user and you are mapping through this. This you could have used this for each, and also for this case we don't use a map. We just use for each or for of. So after getting here a single user, then we could just now do um we could do await. So you could just say go ahead and say await, and we can await create user. Okay, and then we pass in the user. As simple as that, because this we already have the creation of a single user in this function, which takes in the data or which takes in a user of this, of this user props. So just taking advantage of this, they are doing this, and we create, if there is any errors during it, we can console them like that. So done. And this is the only function we need to create bulk users. We simply take advantage. We loop through all the users and then create a user using this function we created earlier here. Okay, now moving on, going back to the users here, we need to abstract another function. Okay, so you can just duplicate this, by the way. Just duplicate this for purposes of simplifying my work, and just say save or create bulk user. Let's save data. Just stick with this name. So this would do exactly the same thing here. And now instead of setting this to JSON, we could actually just save this to database. So here we could just say save to the DB. Okay, and we simply do that by calling save to the DB. We can also do this. I don't know why am I doing this. We can also do this by saying try. So you just say do a try catch here, and we're just going to say await. Okay, and we say create bulk. So we create bulk users, and we pass in the data, which is in the case is the JSON. Okay, this JSON, and why are we having this an unknown? Okay, so we could just say JSON. So this JSON we are converting. Can I give it a type? I don't know if it will just accept. If I said user props, didn't I just define this user props? Type and unknown is so JSON. Wait a second. Okay. Oh, okay, just this one. Maybe just say an array. Yeah. So you can just give this one the type, and then this one would be now okay. Await, we have to give this onload async. So just come here and say async. Give this onload an async function to use await in here. So just go ahead and create here, and for the purposes of this, we can just go here and create a state for loading. So const loading is set loading, and you can just say use state. Okay, we can say use state, and then we can just give this by default a false. And then when we start this whole process inside here of the save, so here you can just say set loading, say set loading to false. Okay, and when we reach here, I don't know, we could just even just like, okay, I just say when this is complete, we can just say set loading to complete. set loading to false. Yeah. Here is supposed to say it's true, I guess. Here is supposed to say it's true to start the loading. So set loading to true, and then down here we set it to false. Okay, if there's any errors, you could just go and say console.log error. Okay, I think this should just now work. We can use our loading. Precisely, we can just put it and down here where we have all this data on the table. I'm just going to just come in and say that if it is loading and loading is true, then we can display a p tag saying saving data, please wait. Saving data, please wait, and just put these 3 dots. Else, I just want to, of course, display this data. Beautiful. So now I'm just going to call this save data function. Okay, call this save data function. Where is this? So on the save. So on click, we're just going to say save data. Okay, as simple as that. So we should now have it working. So the process is, it will have this. And if you want to confirm that we have an array, I could first console.log the JSON, confirm that everything is okay before I call out this. Okay, let me just go and do that before I do more things. Let me first open the console so that we look at the console if we have the JSON. So in the console, a little bit here, console, clear everything. Let's upload this, get this here. Now let's click save data. Okay, so you can see we have 19. We have here 19 fields. You see all the data is here. So this is great. So just go ahead and just save this in the database. I'm just going to close out this and simply go back here, create this, wait for it, reload the page, and just go ahead and just get this and save. Saving data, please wait, and we're just waiting. So here you can just get a very good animation and add it here. Okay. Yeah. And something wrong happened because we didn't revalidate. If I refresh, this data might be there. Of course, oh my bad. You're supposed to go and do the revalidate. So when you create a user, after creating a user, before you return, always do revalidate path and put the path you want to revalidate. Okay, so let's just go and delete all these ones, test one more time. Right now they are all from the database. I'm just going to implement this clear data so that we can just able to clear and create new ones. So here I'm just going to also do exactly the same on these functions. I think I just do this anyways. Duplicate any of these. I'm just going to say delete users, and this doesn't need any data or anything. Just simply say try, and just going to say await Prisma dot user dot delete many. So here we're using the delete many, and if there's any errors, console them out. Otherwise, simply delete many. So back to this, we just need to create a function that is actually going to delete the way we have all these functions, we're just going to have another one, async function. Async function, clear, maybe clear data. And this one is going to say also try catch. And if there's any issues, console.log error, you can just gracefully handle the errors. But for now, just going to say await, delete users, just like this. Okay, you could also put loading, and if you wanted, but for now, let me just simply call this delete users clear data function. We have the remaining button, which is clear data. So on click, we can clear data. Okay, on click, simply call clear data. So before you forget, let's also put revalidate. So this, after deleting, want it to revalidate path, and this is because of cache, the built-in cache. By default, you can set this revalidate data. We are getting it from the next cache. And the purpose of this is to make sure that it will refresh for us the page, like it will bind the scenes, it will delete and refresh or remove all the cache data so that we can see it. So let's just go ahead and just clean this. Just in a second, we don't have any users. Okay, let's now go and upload the users just like this. Save data. So saving data, please wait, and we have come on, and saving data, please wait, and boom, we have all the data just like this. Okay, so and this is coming from the database. You can just go ahead and confirm by just opening the Prisma Studio, and let's refresh the Prisma Studio, and we should just see all our data in the Prisma Studio. Okay, so this is great. Okay, so this is so amazing, and you have a lot of things you can do with this. Okay, so for the purpose of this tutorial, we are stopping here. But if you want to see how I'm going to implement, of course, the advanced usage, like here on the export and import, you can just, of course, go ahead and check out the course. I'm just going to leave the link in the description, where we are building the inventory app plus the full stack portfolio app. And already the course is in action, and it is really nice to see you guys there. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and like and share the video. See you in the next video.